Today's number is 6. That's how many hours I work on this business almost every single day. And if I'm lucky, it's the same number of hours I might get to sleep each night. I do this while being a full-time dad, being a full-time employee. I work almost 60 hours a week just in my regular time business. And then I have to be a husband and a friend and everything else that I have to be in my life. Then you put another maybe 40, 45 hours into this business every single week. It's a lot. It's not a complaint. It's an observation. You put into what you love. You show me what you're working on. And that's what I will tell you you actually appreciate in your life. This is one of the things that I want to be good at. And as a byproduct, I got to put that time in. Are you investing that kind of time into your business? Are you investing that kind of time into the things you love in life? Today, I want to talk about the summer slowdown and why it's all in your head. It is not really that slow this summer. If you run a TCG business, let me talk to you about this. I'll get you into what you should actually be doing with this time. And if you're a collector, what you should be putting your time into right now. But before I get to that, my name is Ryan, and I started the TCG business with over $1 million in debt. I'm here to turn cardboard into cash and move from dire straits into distro. Every day, I go over the ups and downs of running a TCG business and what I accomplished on the previous day. Let's talk about the summer slowdown. It is all in your head. It is not slow season. It's a lie or a story that people tell themselves, not a fact. I can tell you right now, if you want to be doing business in this summer right now, you could do a ton of business. A friend of mine, he changed his pricing model. He had, I think, 457 cards, and I want to say it was like 200 orders, something like that, just this weekend. That's a lot. Phantom and I talked the other day. I think he had he modified his pricing just ever so slightly. It was more in the error, and all of a sudden he had a bunch of cards, a bunch of orders to pull. The other weekend or 2 weekends ago, when I had to shut down my store for a little while, it wasn't slow. I can promise you that. We had 67 orders over a 3-day period. If you are willing to put in both the work and the time and the investment, as well as understand your pricing strategies, nothing about this summer is going to be slow, and you could be making money towards positive momentum towards the fall. Right now is harvest season. You should be working within your pricing structures, working within your inventory to find what are the things that you can, I don't want to say liquidate, but move faster, move a percentage off, move 5 cents off, move 10 cents. If it's sealed, move $10 off. All of that will matter. Now, if you're not in a place where you either need to or want to, that's perfectly fine. I know DJ from DJ's Poke Center was recently talking about how he's kind of doing a trade, right? Like he was trading off some of the time of his investments into prismatic cases. And I love that for him because he was thinking of it more like in a swing trade if you're talking about stocks. And that makes a lot of sense. Like if you know that you have the capital and the time investment on yourself that you can hold, that you're not in debt, you don't need to flip this right away because it doesn't matter if it sells in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years for you, then that's okay, right? Being slow on purpose is okay, but it does not have to be slow. I can tell you that if you're looking for full market on certain items, that might be a little harder, but I'm moving all of my product pretty fine. Why? Because I'm taking bulk for it. I've modified my business. I can tell you right now, this time last year, I had no intention of running a bulk operation like this. None. It wasn't in the cards. It wasn't what I was looking forward to doing. I wanted to be sealed only. Why did I switch? Well, I saw a little bit too much competition. Frankly, I saw some of my friends or people that I consider friendly, like DJ and others, that I was like, oh man, their success right now isn't the ability for me not to gain success, but it was a little scarier. It was almost like, well, they're so successful. There's a little less room in that space right now. So where is there a little bit more room? And as a byproduct, all that sealed is going to get moved. All that sealed is going to be moving to myavatcg.com, okay? And if you want to go there and see the sealed inventory and buy from me to support me, please, I'd be happy to have that support. But we're also going to keep a reserve list, things that are only going to be available for bulk. Why? Because I want to continue that operation. If I just sell things one time, in fact, I've had this conversation a lot with my wife. If I just sold a box, let's say an ETB, and I could call it a quick flip. I could call it a scalp. I could call it anything, whether I had it for 2 days or 2 months or 2 years, right? It doesn't really matter. I could just quick flip like that, right? And it would work and it would be fine. But at a certain point, you want to make sure that your price sensitivity to these things is true to the fact that you're not just a garage sale on steroids, right? You want to be a business. And as a business, you want to have repeat customers. You want to give a value edge. You want to be something that people want to support and come to. There's a lot of stores online that people could go to instead of Brian from Pokemon or whoever, right? There's lots of stores. But why do they come to Brian from Pokemon? Why do they come to DJ from DJ's Poke Center? Why do they go to Cardinal Gaming or any of these people? Because they like and trust them. They want to support their businesses. I want to be a business that other people want to support. But one of the things I want to bring to a value statement to them is you can work with me on trade, live action, your bulk to get access to products that maybe you didn't dream of before. I have a person right now, I've done a lot of trades with them, and they're really interested in the Fusion Strike booster box I have. And so we're probably going to find a way to it. Now, I don't know how it's going to look. I know that right now. I don't know what they have, but we'll make something work if it makes sense with my percentages and everything else that I deal with. And we it may be a lot of bulk. Again, these are the kinds of things that it's not really a slow summer. It's just impacting you differently. You have to think about it differently. As a business, you have to operate in a different model. It's not how it was 2-3 months ago when Descended just came out and everything was rising at the same time. We are seeing some consolidation, and consolidation is actually pretty good. I like consolidation. One, as a business, this is, again, like I said, harvest season. This is exactly when you should be pouring money into your business. This is when you should be buying things. Hey, that ETB that's been sitting at $180 for the last 3 weeks, if I can get it 80% now because people are like, oh man, it's not moving up and I kind of need some cash now, great. Go on your 4th of July weekend. Enjoy your time. I'm going to reap the harvest of buying that at 80% or whatever it may be. And I'll see you in 3 months when that box is 200 or 250. And I'm not saying it will be, but now's the time to be thinking of that if you're a TCG business. Now, if you're a collector, you also want to start thinking of things in this way. Again, love the slow season because now is the time that you might get a deal. You might get somebody tripping. You might get somebody sleeping right on Facebook Marketplace. Just they need to flip because they got to pay that credit card bill. They got to pay off, a debt here. They want to go on a trip here. That's wonderful. In fact, there are about 2 slow seasons. It seems like the way people talk about it, it's pretty much the summer and then a little bit into the winter, right around Christmas. I can tell you things were slower around Christmas. Now, I can't tell you if that was Phantasmal Flames, people getting burnt out, or just a slowness in the market overall. I know people were leaving the prismatic pin collections on the shelves. I left a few on the shelves. Now, some of that was cash position, and some of that was just, man, I don't know how long this is going to be. What that season taught me, what this past winter taught me, was that slow season is the perfect time to be buying, not the perfect time to just be dumping everything. Now, if you need something, I get it. If you are already up a bunch, I'll tell you one of the things. I'm up a bunch. I'm up a ton right now on Ascended sealed cases, the ETB cases. I've truthfully considered either moving them for cash position, and basically one would pay for what was the original cost against both. So I'm out of my money and one is basically free. I would love to do that in trade, to be honest with you. I would love to actually push that into either a trade position or bulk, because that's, again, how I like to move things. But it's one of these things where I'm looking at my ledger and going, I know I got it for X, it's up to Y. Now is the time to move for Z. And this is where you can reap some benefits, gain the cash position to move into, let's say, the 30th, right? Or the Delta Rain, the coming Rayquaza set. All of these are things that you need to consider as a business, but you also need to think a little bit like what DJ said. Don't just sell to sell. Like, you can hold a little bit longer, right? Especially even as a business, or especially as a business, and do that kind of swing trade of like, yeah, I could buy it now for, I don't know, let's say it was prismatic. I think prismatic ETB cases are like 1900 or something. And I'm going to presume that DJ or somebody like me could maybe get him a discount enough that maybe brings it down to 1750. I don't think it's going to be 1500, but somewhere in the ballpark. Well, if that's the case, and I've reduced all the kind of sealed premium of it all, and then I could hold it for, I don't know, 4 months. If you have that capital position, why wouldn't you? If you're a collector, why wouldn't you? Now's a good time to trade into things that are maybe a little bit more stagnant, as a Fusion Strike box or an Evolving Skies box that you've always wanted. Is there now an opportunity for you to either trade in or buy in? Now, however you may do that, at a show, at a store, it doesn't really matter. But I disagree fundamentally with this idea of a summer slowdown. Yes, for some people, if they're unwilling to change their pricing model, if they're unwilling to move in different ways, it is slower for them. But I can tell you right now, nothing about this business feels slow to me right now. In fact, I need more time. I'm already using 2 additional people, a bulk partner, and I'm probably going to need more in the future. I had a conversation today out of the blue. A friend of a friend, I'll say it this way, reached out to me. We had met in a parking lot briefly, and all we had to say to each other was, oh, this is my bulk guy. And so all of a sudden he was like, hey, can I get your number? Now, he almost exclusively deals in OP bulk, not entirely, but almost exclusively. And he's been really trying to get me into OP bulk. And I got to tell you, and I told him, I just don't know how to move it right now. And if I knew how to move it, I absolutely would. In fact, I want to because it feels like such an open market for me. And it is one of those things that I may just jump into even regardless. But it is a little, again, scary because of that. But that conversation in a parking lot after dealing with one individual who I will call friend, although I would never tell that to his face. He and we did, I want to say it was like 3 PKC ETBs and like $500 cash because he had like a huge lot at the beginning of June. And he's one of the reasons we got so close to our 500K number, right? And so I met this other individual from him. And he called me out of the blue. Now, I met him maybe 3 weeks ago, but when he called me, he said, listen, my impression of after meeting you was that you're professional, that you're quick to respond, that you're somebody I would probably like to work with. I have an idea. And I was like, okay, I'm listening, right? Like, and I was happy to be called all those things, but mostly it was just nice to be considered in this. And when we were talking, he was like, I want to work. I heard that you maybe want to get involved with some stores. I have potentially some ins in some stores. Do you have a rate card that I could share with them? I said, here's the thing. If you want that rate card and you're willing to be kind of the middleman, we'll figure out how to make sure that you're included right in this process as well. I'm happy to make sure everybody gets a little on the way up, right? And so I was already working on my rate card as it relates to kind of everybody I deal with, including kind of members versus subscribers versus just general public when it's like not something that's been sorted versus what's for cash and trade, like all these considerations. And I'd been working on that last night. And because I had been working on that last night, it was just a little bit of tweaking that needed to be done. And I was able to give him something within, I don't know, 2 hours of our conversation. But now he has the forward momentum to say, all right, now I can go to a business. I believe they had like 2 card shops, maybe 3. I think it was like 2. And he can bring this to them and say, here's what I can do for you. Here's what I want to do for you. Here's how you can bring bulk to your operation. I got a guy on the back end who's going to make sure it clears out. And then he's going to give you product or cash or whatever it is that we end up doing. But out of nowhere from, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, now I have an opportunity to maybe get into a few stores, which may breed more opportunity and more opportunity. Like, again, this is how I look at this space right now. And I say there's infinite number of opportunities, infinite number of possibilities. There is no such thing as a summer slowdown if you're putting in the work, if you're putting in the effort, if you're moving the ball for yourself and your business. If you're in a TCG business, what you should be doing is exactly what I'm saying with your time. Now, if you're a collector, like I said before, use this time right now to kind of build up on the things that have been trading sideways for a little while. Is there a card that's been sitting around 300 for the last 3 weeks? Can you get a little softer on the market because of that before it ticks back up right before the 30th, or people are paying attention post the summer? Can you get it for a steal right now because the vendor needs to also pay for the table that day, and so right now this is the most liquid thing he has or she has, and he's willing to give it 5% under market, and that saves you a little cash for the next thing in your hobby dollars, right? All these things are considerations you need to be making, but I promise you, if you take the time to find where these kind of arbitrage plays are, if you take the time to make more time in your day for the things that are important to you, if you take the time to put it into your business and you pour it into it like water, you will reap the benefits. I promise you. Right now, the conversation with that friend of a friend, he and I were talking, and he said, listen, I want to set this up so that you're doing tons of cards come the 30th and come, I think it was OP17. And we were talking about that and how could I get into Japanese and all these other things. And it was a really nice conversation because what he said and what I liked is, he was like, I want somebody who's ambitious, right? Like I want somebody who's a go-getter who wakes up and says, how can I make this work? He has a vision for himself. He wants to include me in that vision in a different way. I didn't know him a month ago. And right now, that might be one of the most important conversations I've had today, but certainly it could elevate my entire operation for the next 6 months. I'm hopeful that it will. It may not, but I promise you this summer is only slow if you're making it slow for yourself. Do not make it slow for yourself if you're running a TCG business. It's up to you to do with what your time is and make the most out of it each day. So yesterday, making the most out of it, we worked on the rate card. I had to deal with some of the kind of prep for the website, working with my dev on that. Had to prepare some of the tax things that were lingering on the back end. That was great. Today, I tried calling the Virginia tax. It's fine. We'll finish that up tomorrow. We worked more on the website. We're getting our bulk submission, our collection submissions, so that if you want to sell me your bulk, but no matter where you are in the world, you can do that. You can sell me your collections no matter where you are in the world, and we'll work together. I'm working on kind of the rate card, kind of the view of it so that anybody can understand it. And then we're going to modify that so that by tomorrow, we're able to release our new rate card for sealed single slabs and bulk, and everybody will know where we're at, and then you can adjust accordingly. Do you want to use Ryan from AVA TCG or not, right? Now, I won't always be the let's say the cheapest, and I won't always be the most expensive, right? There may be things where there's an arbitrage opportunity to bring me your bulk, but you say, you know what, I'm only gonna get sealed from AVA if I'm gonna get it in bulk or in trade, right? Or there may be an opportunity for you to say, like, his sealed is not above market, so I'm always gonna buy my stuff here, but on certain, I don't know, singles or slabs, I don't really do that with AVA because it just doesn't fit my particular needs, and that's okay, right? Not everybody is going to fit for every person against every business unit or section that you have. That's just the way it is. One of the considerations I'm also, trying to always maintain is that relationship and partnerships. We've talked about my bulk partner many times here, and I want to make sure that she feels included in the process. It is one of those things where you got to make sure that the people that you care about understand where you're coming from. That if changes are being made, it's in consideration of the understanding that you have, even if it is sometimes detrimental to how they may have been operating. It's forward momentum, and hopefully for both. The same thing goes for the person that I've been really happy to work with on their system, and kind of in that card uploader kind of way. I'm looking forward to seeing what he continues to do as I start my scanning process this evening. He was up all night doing not listing, it was pulling cards from his inventory, and we were talking, I don't know, like midnight while I was doing something. Again, these are the relationships you want to keep building. These are the people you want to keep riffing with. These are the people that matter in the long run, because they will be here longer than most, and those are the things that you're going to need when the hard times. Right now, I think Brian from Pokey said this in a video just the other day. He was like, listen, you're building so that in the future, when when you can kind of walk a little bit, right? Because right now everything's really easy to sell, but in the future it'll be a little harder to sell. So kind of in that in between, there's going to be kind of this crawl, walk, run. Right now, you could crawl and sell Pokemon, right? And there's going to be a walking phase, but then when it's in the bear market, you're going to want to run. You're going to want to buy as much as you can, do as much as you can. I've heard, I think Mason talk about from Cardinal Gaming, that he's got like a backlog of, I don't know, 10 million bulk cards, because when the shit hits the fan, when this place is harder to sell a booster box than a bulk card, you're going to want the bulk at that point. Now, I'm not at the place from an inventory management system or kind of just a place to put everything that I could do that, but I like the idea. I like the idea that he knows he's been through enough of these cycles, what's to come next. And while I think that's probably 2 years away, and we can talk about that while I'm riffing on the idea that there isn't really a summer slowdown, there's going to be a slowdown at some point. And the people that you build these relationships with, the gentleman from today, the person that I talked about that has built his system, Sam, or my bulk partner, or for that matter, the sifters that I work with. I was really happy to work with my Mason today, to see her, to talk about how her vacation went, to give her more boxes so she could go through that as a new opportunity for her to gain credit. All of these things matter. And so when you're going through your summer as a TCG business, the real question I have to ask you, and I want you to put in the comments below, what are you doing to get ahead right now? While everybody else is talking about how slow it could be or they're not seeing the kind of sales that they're used to. To be fair, didn't sell last summer, so I can't compare you over a year. But what I can tell you right now is if you wanted to sell a bunch, you absolutely could. So as always, be good or be good at it. Put in the comments below what you're doing to move forward. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.